What's going on, guys? What's going on? Now, here's my question. How'd you like that intro? How'd you like the intro? I see you, Marsha, and that's what I'm talking about. Throwing up the JA already. Nadia Tay, my sis Anna Redding, always on Periscope. Kim Crowder, I see you, sis. My man Tony's in the house. I see all of you. There you go. There you go. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I love the excitement right out the gate. Right out the gate. I love it. I love it. But while I was doing the sound check, my man Chris Cooper is going to be on later. He said to make sure I'm giving LinkedIn love. So LinkedIn, today is all about you, baby. Today is all about you. So right now, I see my sis Natalie Burrell on LinkedIn. I see Elise Martin from Toronto. My man Don Napoleon from the DMV on LinkedIn. I see you guys. I see Sandra. I see Khalid. I see Sharon, Mohammed Shams. I see all of my lovely fam on LinkedIn. And of course, I got to say what's up. I see my sis Violet Lim. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Violet, by the way. Violet had COVID-19 and she has recovered. So I think we've got to give a hand clap to Violet. So good that you're safe. And actually, I want to start off by sharing my own story about COVID-19 because, you know, this is obviously something that's impacted all of us, right? Whether it be directly or indirectly. And I want to just very quickly talk about the power of social media, the power of giving, and why it's so important to give. You know, so my cousin lives in the epicenter of coronavirus in New York, right in the epicenter. And she had all the symptoms. Her sister saw that she had the symptoms, so brought her to the hospital. She tested positive for COVID-19 in New York. She was in the hospital for 2 or 3 days, and it looked as if it was, you know, flu-like symptoms, and then she would go home. The day that she was supposed to return home, her breathing started to become more labored and more labored. She ended up being sent to the ICU, and then within 2 days, she was put on a ventilator. Now, you know, it's interesting. I have been reading stories of other folks. I have had people who I know, but who weren't close to me pass away. This was the first person in my immediate family, right, that I talked to on a frequent basis that was in this unique situation, because what was absolutely terrible for us, the family, is we couldn't talk to her, right? We couldn't visit, right? We couldn't be there with her as she was suffering. Now, here's where I want to talk about the power of social, the power of giving. When that happened, when she was sent to ICU, my mom was frantically texting me. You know, we didn't know what to do. I wanted to somehow just get to my cousin to just let her know, Rainey, everything's gonna be okay. You know, we're here with you. We just wanted to let her know we're here with you, right? I didn't know how to do that, but I know I have a good family, right? Good social community. So I posted on Instagram, this is what's happened to my cousin. If anyone works at this hospital or knows of anyone who works at this hospital in New York, please let me know. And let me tell you the power of social and the power of giving. Do you know, within 10 minutes, I got a message, and I want to specifically shout you out. I don't know if you're watching, but Latoya Deshawn. So I got lots of messages from people saying, Paul, I'm praying for you. But I got a message within about 10 minutes from Latoya Deshawn. And she said something that, you know, would make me tear up, right? If I hadn't already thought about telling you all this. And in her message was simply, we got you, mentor. That was it. She was just saying, we got you, right? And what she then did is she went out and she identified someone within her social network who works in hospitals in New York. She then connected me to that person, and that person, her name is Nicole Newland. Nicole Newland. By the way, this is within 30 minutes now of me posting. 30 minutes. Nicole Newland, who doesn't know me, but knows of LaToya, messages me back and says, Paul, I don't work at this hospital, but I have 2 friends who work at that hospital. Let me reach out to them. Within 10 minutes, she then messages me back. She says, one of my friends is not there, but my other friend is a nurse at that hospital. She will go check on your cousin. Anything you need, her hair braided, you need anything that you need, right? My friend is going to do this. Man, that happened in less than an hour. Less than an hour. And so, I just want to thank Nicole Newland. I want to thank LaToya Deshawn. I want to thank everyone out here who are truly acting as human beings. Like, we're truly acting as human beings and caring for each other now. But I want to mention something else very briefly. And this is the power of social. This is the power of social. Within 1 hour, my family, we were terrified. And with 1 hour, not only were we reassured, but we had somebody who now we were connected to on the ground so that we could talk to our family member. We can talk to our loved ones. Powerful. Now, I thought about this and I thought about, well, why did this really happen? Was Nicole acting just as, kind? And I think they were. I think they were acting completely kind. But I want to go back to something that LaToya Deshawn wrote to me minutes after me posting. She said, "We got you, mentor." That hit me because what that means to me is something that I've talked about for years. And that is, it is important for us to give, because you never know when you are going to get that back. You never know when you're going to receive. And I always say that when you give and give and give and give and give relentlessly, it may not come back to you. It may come back to your children, your children's children, it may come back to a friend. It may come back to your cousin who has coronavirus who is thousands of miles away. How did that come back? I think, right, LaToya is someone who I have been trying to pour my heart, right? I try to pour my heart out to you guys every week, right? And I've been doing this for years, right? I think LaToya was like, you know what? I'm going to reciprocate, right? This guy has been helping me. I am going to reciprocate. And she went over and beyond. This is what I'm talking about, right? I mean, what LaToya did was bigger than her writing a check. What LaToya did for me was bigger than giving me a job. What LaToya did was bigger than anything. This is the power also of giving relentlessly. Giving. All right. That's it. That's all I had to say. LinkedIn, I was about to go to Facebook, but let me go to LinkedIn first. LinkedIn, how we feel about that? Let me see. A lot of comments on LinkedIn. Ernestine Hill said she's about to cry. I tell you what, Ernestine, if I'm not hyped up on this caffeine, I will get emotional on these. Dominica Lindsay says, amen. My sister Kile says, amen. Diana says, hey, Paul. Yes, Edward Williams says, you have to give in order to receive. This is the power of giving, Now, talking about the power of giving, I have to make mention of this before we get going. Is we rolled out Knowledge Share. Okay, we rolled out Knowledge Share. And one of the things that I want to underscore is, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this because I've been talking about this in the last several sessions. I strongly encourage everyone to please sign up for Knowledge Share. It is free. It is the way for you to give. We have hundreds of people on our list who want coaching, who want mentorship, who want insight on how to set up an Instagram account. I mean, hundreds of questions. But then guess what? We have also hundreds of people like you who've already joined the list and are already giving up their expertise. And it's phenomenal. Like, we've got people from Oxford and Harvard and all the, top schools. There's a buddy of mine who just signed up yesterday who will be on next week's Knowledge Share list, who's the managing director at a top investment firm, who's like, hey, Paul, I'll get on and give 5 hours of my time. Please give of your time. Everyone has expertise and everyone needs help. And I want to encourage everyone to go to Knowledge Share and give of your time, give of your expertise. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. Do you realize something that I forgot to say? Do you know what I forgot to say as we kick things off? Almost at 1,000 people live already. Do you know what I forgot to say? I forgot to shout out Jamaica. How did I forget to shout out Jamaica right now? So where is everybody? Where is everybody watching from? Let's get a real quick check-in on where everybody's watching from before we bring on our guests. Let's see where you're watching from. LinkedIn, Facebook. Let's see where you're watching from. Uh-oh. I see the flag already. Oh, this will work on Periscope. My sis right here from Jamaica, Queens. We'll take Jamaica, Queens. But I tell you what, we'll take my man Marshawn saying my mic is crackly. Gotta work on my mic. UK, we'll take UK. There we go. We got California. I see, all right, on LinkedIn, I see East London. I see Cindy Henson from Austin. I see Jamaica living in Canada. I see my man Ahmed Ali from Turkey. Merhaba from Turkey. I'm seeing it all. All right. So, all right. Let's see. I can't even keep up. All right. So, let's get it started, guys, because this is a very important, very, very important episode. We're talking about something that honestly I struggle with. We're talking about how do we find our passion? How do we identify our purpose, right? How do we identify our vision? How do we do this? This is something that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Paul, you already know what your no, this is something that I struggle with. And so I have brought 3 people on who I honestly believe can direct you, because these are 3 people that I would call individually to direct and guide me. So I think we're about to get blessed. And what I want to do is I want to bring on our guests individually. All right. And I've got a little surprise. As you see, I have little surprises. Did you guys like the countdown? We had a little countdown. You saw a little countdown. Also, watch this. Let me hit you with this real quick. Bam! Look at that. Bam! Hold on. Let me take it back. I didn't see the reaction. LinkedIn. Let me get your reaction real quick. Ready? Bam! Better with Paul. Little accents. All right. So I have more surprises for you. All right. So let me bring on our first guest. But I have a little surprise on this. And you tell me if you like the surprise. Okay. Now, here's our first guest. Our first guest is someone, and I like to do away with bios. I like to just give you this straight. All right. This is how I know the first guest. The first guest is someone who I highly, highly admire and respect. And I spoke at a conference with her, and I love the conference. Actually, the organizer of the conference is one of my besties. She might even be watching right now. But I tell you, I think my biggest value of the conference was meeting her, this woman who I'm about to bring on, and being able to spend time with her and get to know her. She is outstanding. So outstanding that this is a little bio note that she was the 13th Black woman to become commander in the Coast Guard. Right? She is a coach. She's a phenomenal speaker. She's a phenomenal trainer, all of those things, right? Author, best-selling author. But most important, she's just someone who is a good person. She's just good, right? She's just good. And on that note, I want to bring her to the stage. But before I bring her to the stage, I've got something else that I want to show you real quick. This is how I'm going to bring everybody to the stage today. Here we go. This is how we bring people. There we go. My man, DJ Astronaut. Oh. That's how we're doing it today. Christy Rutherford. Also, I want to shout out my man, DJ Astronaut. holding us down in Dallas. This is my man. He's going to be with us all day. DJ Astronaut, we'll see you in a little bit. All right. Christy.
I love it. Hey, Paul, thanks. Hey, everyone. I'm so excited to share this information with you. But Paul, what's funny is we're going to talk about vision. When I was invited to speak at that conference, I think it was probably about a year before that I started following you. And I said, one day I'm going to meet him in person. So when the organizer said, hey, I want to invite you to come speak at my conference, I said, okay, I want to speak. I want to come. When is Paul coming? That's what I said. Oh, Paul is going to be there. When is he coming? And then I said, I want to speak right before him because I want him to hear me talk. Oh, he's coming the day before. I want to come the day before because I want to hang out with him. And then I want to talk right before him because I want him to see me. That was vision. Get that.
Wow. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we were hanging out, right? Going to the food trucks, right?
Yep.
It was good. It was good. But I tell you what, Chris, it's a blessing. It is a blessing to have you on here. I'm so excited about this panel. I see everybody welcoming you. There you go. Let's get right into it. I sometimes struggle with what is the difference, right? Mm-hmm. Between purpose, between passion, between, vision. How do you break down the difference between those three?
Okay, great. One, I'm glad you asked me this question a day ahead because as someone who, this is what we do, it's hard to actually break it down. So passion are clues that will lead you to your purpose. So your purpose, what Dr. Miles Monroe said was every person was born to solve a problem for your generation. So what you're passionate about are clues to what your purpose is. So for me, my natural state is a coach. I am a giver. I'm a mentor. I mentored 70 people in my previous career. My gift is to get people to see the version of them that I see, which is a greater version of themselves. So if I see that you can give 120%, but you're only giving 20%, my goal is how do I get you to maximize your potential so I can get results out of you at work as a employee, but basically as a leader. So that was my gift. I didn't know, Paul, that was a marketable skill. I didn't know that that's what coaching was until I went to a conference and a lady started talking about coaching. I said, that's what I do. Like they have a name for it. Oh, that's what they call it. Oh, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to go. She said, I went to Georgetown. So I went to Georgetown to get my coaching certification to really just put a label on who I am naturally. So your purpose is attached to what you're passionate about and is what you do for free all the time. It's why people call you. It's what you're good at. It's the best advice that you have for people. It's really what you do for free. The goal is at a certain point, if you choose, is how do I now monetize what I've been giving away for free for years?
Okay. I'm with it. Now, all right, let's dig on this one then.
Okay.
Why is it important right now? Right. Because I see a lot of people talking about right now, right? We're at home. Why is it so important right now for us to be figuring this out?
So one of the things that Dr. Miles Monroe said, he says, a lot of people get a job, but you're not doing the work that you were called to do. The work is your unique gift to solve a problem for just this generation. So by a Gallup study, 85% of people around the world go to jobs that they hate all the time. 1. 2, you're not necessarily passionate. 85% of people are not passionate with the work that they're doing. They're not working in their purpose, but they have a secure check. Right now, what's happening in the world is you're seeing that nothing is really secure. So if you can figure out what your purpose is and what you're passionate about, that is going to be your way to sustain yourself, to sustain your income, and actually make more money than your job would have paid you anyway.
Okay. I'm with it. Clearly, everyone is with it too. Kim is like she's preaching. Here's the thing. I really need to figure out how to get a collection plate so that we could pass. All right, Christy, I'm with it. That makes a lot of sense. I saw a question up here that I'm going to come back. We're going to address later. Someone asked for right here, Vic Bell. I want to make sure we respect Vic's. the difference between coach, sponsor, and mentor. Let's talk about that when we bring everybody together, okay?
Okay.
All right, good stuff. All right, everybody say goodbye to Christy. She will be back. But right now, we have to bring on our next guest. We have to bring on our next guest, guys. And you know we're going to bring on our next guest properly, because that's how we do it right here, Better with Paul. So our next guest is someone who I met on social. And I'll tell you exactly how we met, or how I remember meeting her. Is she would write the most powerful, compelling comments on various posts, right? I would make, especially on LinkedIn, right? She would make these compelling comments. And what I also noticed is she was fearless in speaking her mind, right? So she would say things that perhaps not everyone would agree with, but she would be fearless in saying it. And on top of it, she would also be fearless in defending others. People who had opinions in the commentary that might not have been popular, but there was still credibility to it, she would defend it. And I love that. We then started, messaging back and forth. And it's funny. It turns out that we lived maybe about a block from each other in Washington, D.C. And this is the reason why I call her my 202 sis. And because she's from the DMV, or should I say, that's how I remember her, from the DMV, right? The DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I could only bring her on properly. So my man, DJ Astronaut, is going to give a proper DC introduction. Oh! Got that girl go. Got that girl go. Let me see your chest. Back it up, drop it down. Let me see your chest. Get low, let me see your chest. Push it up. Let me see your... That's my man, DJ Astronaut.
Thanks, DJ Astronaut.
What's up, everybody? If you're feeling DJ Astronaut, let him know in the comments. Let him know. All right, we'll see DJ Astronaut a little bit. Deb!
So excited. And I'm going to start, first of all, and thank you for Knowledge Share. And I want to thank those nearly 100 people who've offered pro bono professional help.
Yeah.
Humanity has this. I don't care what they're saying on Twitter. I don't care what the governments are saying. We, the people, have each other's back. And Knowledge Share is the perfect example. I mean, it should become well known what you're doing.
Wow. Yeah.
It's what it is about. Human energy is more priceless than money.
Yes.
We can literally create an entirely new concept of money. And all of us just need to band together and say, look, it doesn't matter. Yeah, balances are not what's important here.
Right.
Life. Finding that person who can go to a hospital and help your family member. Right? This is powerful. And we didn't see it. We were forcing that into money. And we need to just say people are the bomb. People are incredible.
Deb, I can just drop the mic right there. That's good. Deb, you're done. You're done. See you. You're good.
and I got to tell you what, I've never been more honored in my life. It's fearless. I lived a really outlier life for 49 years. So that when I turned 50, I could come and be this fearless philosopher who's going to take the world apart and put it back together in a life-centric way. Everything that went wrong is about industrialization. We treated humans like widgets.
Right.
That's why philosophy matters.
Now, Deb, so on that note, though, can you just break down what exactly does philosophy mean? Like, what is the study? Just so that we are all on the same page with what.
Absolutely. And just like Christy, I love the way you phrase the question, because there's a million ways to talk about it. But fundamentally, philosophy is thinking about the basic questions of life, all of them. And I kind of like to say it's the academic study of mental fitness. That's the PR thing. It's mental fitness. If you're a philosopher and you can think clearly, you have better mental fitness than everyone else. And mental fitness, that's exactly how you earn your living, is being able to put your mind out, put your heart out. I believe very strongly that having your heart and your mind intertwined is the way that we're all going to change the world now. Logic and love intertwined is my brand. You don't have to be one or the other. You can be both. You can be smart and heart-centric.
Okay.
In fact, being heart-centric, being in your emotions is the way to be the most intelligent you. And it's how you find your purpose. Okay. You will not have a purpose if all you're doing is putting money in a bank account.
Right.
Just the world isn't built like that. You go to a job and you're given tasks and you're given objectives that belong to somebody else, to whole departments. That's why I really grokked with you the very first time I read one of your posts, because entrepreneurship is this bridge between the old world and the new world. Because humans who are not in their purpose are not creatively fulfilled. Where we fix this world and this chaos with this virus is we all must get creative.
Okay. So now I'm assuming that's the reason why philosophy is important in the discussion of discovering purpose, discovering passion, discovering vision.
And I'll even make it more simple. In a world where all we do is search for answers, asking the right questions is a game changer. You can't get milk from a hardware store. And nor should you be raising cows as if you're building nails. You're manufacturing hammers. This is how philosophy likes to look at things holistically.
Okay.
We're looking for validity. We're not looking for math, 1 + 1 = 2. We're looking for what is a logical premise that's doable in the world, and does it harm anybody? Does it make sense? We've lost this question of first, do no harm.
Okay.
If you were to take corporate charters and put that in, that you don't have the right to incorporate unless you really strive to first do no harm, that right
there that's great. I mean, to think about that, like, you can't get a corporate charter unless you've committed to do no harm. That right there is mind-blowing. And I think that's why I love philosophy. That's why I love you. That's the reason why I wanted you to be a part of this conversation, because I think that we have to take ourselves out of almost the status quo. Like, we have to take ourselves out of the box and look inward in order to determine what is our purpose, what is our passion, right? So, Deb, thank you for being here, right? We're gonna get deeper. We're gonna get deeper. Already people are like, I love Deb's energy. She's powerful. Yes. Joan says she's powerful. So Deb, we'll see you in a little bit. Everybody, we'll see Deb in just a little bit. But right now, I need to bring on the last guest. Last but not least is my man, CC, Chris Cooper. Now, Chris is someone I was trying to figure out how long I've known Chris. I think it could be almost 20 years. Like, I don't even know how long. I think it has been for, it could be 2 decades that I've known Chris. And I want to say this. I don't know if I've ever told him this, but I want to make sure I am saying it now, because it's important to give everyone their affirmations, right? To affirm and praise people. One of the best, actually at the time, the best stage presenter and the best trainer. And I say at that time because right around that time when I met Chris, I was spending a lot of time focused, observing, right? Stalking presenters, right? Because I wanted to be a public speaker. I wanted to be a presenter. And when I met Chris through, I think it was the National Society of Black Engineers. There was a project we were working on, and he had everything that a speaker needs and more, right? And what I love about Chris is it wasn't just on stage. I think you win off stage. Like, I think that's really when presenters win, is off stage, right? He was dynamic, he was engaging, he was energetic, he was friendly, he was charming, he was charismatic off stage. And then he brought that on stage and then just took it up to the next level, right? And then he got off of stage, and a lot of people get off and they've given up all their energy and they're done. Then he would keep going. He would keep going, like, to keep supporting. He's phenomenal, right? And I'm just so proud that he's here. And so, in order to bring him on, because when I think about Chris, I think about the ATL. I think about Atlanta. I think about hot Atlanta back in the day, right? That's what I think about Atlanta. So my man, DJ Astronaut, is going to bring on Chris Cooper properly. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh. That's what I'm saying, man. DJ.
Hey.
Killing it. DJ Astronaut, killing it. CC.
Paul Carrick Brunson, to be exact. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's been almost 20 years. It's been almost 10 years, brother. It is such an honor to be here. And if I may share one quick story, the other thing that I was amazed by what you said today. It was I had no clue that you were taking notes and definitely looking at me in that light. But for all of you that don't know, I was very blessed to be one of the first people that Paul came to when he decided to make his transition out of corporate, out of being in the testing space, all that kind of great stuff, and really create the platform for what everybody is seeing today. And I am so honored. I'm so filled just to see the incredible, amazing, dynamic, super fantastic, as I would say, a most excellent individual that Paul Brunson has ultimately. I call him Paul PB, but but I'm so proud of you, man. Like I just, the influence that you're having across the planet is indelible. It's undeniable, and I am so grateful to also call you my brother and my friend.
There you go, man. I appreciate that. So here we go. So CC, I tell you, you are built for this topic. You are built for this topic. I want to kick you off with this question, right? Okay. When I was researching, because I tried to do a little bit of research before these, I found a New York Times article from 2018. And in the article, it stated that roughly 75% of US adults have no clue as to what our purpose is, right? We have no clue about it, right? And what I find to be interesting is that I know you have been working with clients over the years, specifically on this topic of having to help discover purpose. But what I'd love to know is, what have you noticed to be the top 3 roadblocks that we have as people trying to find purpose? And as you've helped them, right, to pull away, or basically, what have been the techniques that you've used to help pull those roadblocks away? Okay.
Well, incredible question. As someone whose company is actually even called Execute Your Passion, this has been, my sandbox for almost 16, 17, 18 years. So I think the question is so important. And what I love about passion is when you look at passion, and Christy did a great example, and Deb as well. Passion to me is like the fervor, the fire, the zeal, the boundless enthusiasm and effort. What wakes us up in the middle of the night, and what doesn't let us even lay down when it's time to go to bed. And what I found is that passion is more about emotion and motivation. But the question that you asked is more about the purpose, and I think the purpose is more about the reasons. See, one of my mentors, I'm a trained Tony Robbins elite peak performance and results coach and all that kind of great stuff. And one thing that Tony taught us, I will never forget. He taught me that reasons come first, answers come second. I'm gonna say it again. Reasons come first, answers come second. So when I think about the clients that I've been able to serve all over across the world, and when I think about, what are those ultimate roadblocks to people being able to, as I would say, execute their passion, find their purpose, achieve their dreams, etc. It really comes down to 3 things. As you said, number one, most individuals are unable to find their purpose or their passion because they don't know what they want. And not only do they not know what they want, they don't know why they want it. And I think that's so critical because the purpose is attached to the why. So you can say, yes, I want to be a millionaire, but why do you want to be a millionaire? What is being a millionaire going to enable you to do? Is it going to enable you to serve, to give, to not have it, to be free? Like what is the ultimate reason why you want the things that you quote unquote say that you want? because what's necessary is that why. That's the fuel. That's what, as entrepreneurs, as we know, that's what is going to keep us going when people tell us no and things don't work out and we're in these situations. So the first thing, as I said, is right there. Number one, just understanding exactly what you want and why you want it. The second reason why people don't get what they want and why they're not able to pursue their passion or identify their passion is because of the fact that they don't have, and check this out, the proven tools and strategies to ultimately get them there. I'm gonna say that again, the proven tools, not just any tools and strategies. I'm talking about social proof. I'm talking about things that have worked for other people. I'm a big believer that success leaves clues. And if you do what successful people do, you can have that same type of success or even greater. So not having those proven tools, those strategies, those techniques will always keep you, I guess, in that black hole of not knowing this. And then the third reason I'm going to tell you is this. So after, not knowing what you want and why you want it, that was number one. Number two, not having the proven tools and strategies. But the third one, I think, is the one that really speaks to, and I'll give it up for Deb once again. It speaks to the philosophy of all of us. And when I say that, the third reason is because there's an incongruency between three things: between what you want, what you believe, and what you feel. I'll say it again. There's an incongruence between what you want, what you believe, and what you ultimately feel. Because when I think about those feelings and those desires and those beliefs, it's really about our personal psychology. It's our personal psychology. It's the language that we're using. It's our physiology. It's our questions. It's all those things that we're asking ourselves. And so I guess the solution here, I'm the GSD guy. So the only solution to really kind of knock out these roadblocks is, number one, you got to get clear and you got to get focused. Number two, you got to get help. And I'm telling you, see, most of us think we can do this by ourselves, and you can, but why? I'm so excited about the group that you founded, where we can share our the knowledge share. That's where you can get help. That's where you can get the mentor. That's where you can get the person that's done the things before you. That's where you can get the rituals, the habits, the techniques, the strategy. That's the coach, whatever it is that you need. And then the last thing I'll say is this: the third part is just really getting aligned. And when you get in alignment, that's when everything flows. But when there's incongruency, when you don't have the tools and strategies, and when you don't know what you want and why you want, you're never going to be able to get to your proper purpose or your placement in life.
All right. So, Chris, what I hear you saying is that clarity is where we have to begin, right? It's about
absolutely.
Okay. So here's what I want to do. So thank you for that. What I'm going to do is Chris, we're going to say goodbye, but I'm going to come right back to you.
I'll come back.
All right. So everybody say goodbye to Chris, but he's coming right back. That's where I want to start. I want to start with clarity, but I want you to right now start entering in your questions. Facebook, YouTube. I see you, Vic, on YouTube, right? I see you, Periscope, LinkedIn. I'm coming to you first for questions, right? I'm coming to you first. By the way, I see my man Nick Nelson just jumped in the building on LinkedIn. That's my man right there, brandpreneur. So let's start with the clarity question, but we have to bring all of our guests back. And there's only one way to bring on a guest now on Better with Paul. There's only one way to bring on a guest and bring on 3 guests. I need some help. So I'm going to my man one more time from Dallas. This is my man right here. Coming back to the stage. We got my sis Christy. We got my sis Deb. And she's right there. There he goes, making it happen. Everyone is loving DJ. If you're loving DJ Astronaut, let me get some love real quick. So I could just see it.
DJ saving our lives.
Let me tell you right now, when we close out the show today, I know that when we close out, a lot of people are in comments trying to connect with each other, trying to say certain things. So DJ Astronaut is just going to close us out 2 minutes, just DJ Astronaut spinning, right? So we can all just listen, unwind, have our own little mini club quarantine up in here, right? But let me start with this. Let me start with this, guys. is, let's start with that clarity question. So first, Christy, Deb, do you agree on Chris's idea here on it begins with clarity? So in order for us to find purpose, passion, and vision in life, we have to get clear. That's my first question. Does it begin there? And then the second part to that is, if it does begin there, what are 3 actionable steps that we can all take today to get clear? Right? So A, is it about clarity first? And if it is, what can we all do, everyone watching, do to at least begin to get clarity today?
You know, I was thinking as Chris was talking, I'm like, was he reading my notes from yesterday? Because, you know, but people who are living in their purpose and doing the work that they were called to do, we know that the system is the same. It doesn't matter whether you apply it as a trucking company or you're a cupcake maker, it takes the clarity. But one of the things that I found out, the biggest problem that people have is that you can talk about clearly where you want to be in your career in the next 5 years. Like, what do you need to do? Well, I need this degree, or I need to get this level, or I need to get these things checked off. But when I ask them, well, what about your personal life? I get crickets. Well, maybe I want to get a degree, or I want to get a new job. No, I want to get a promotion in this job. You know what? I think I want to open up a cupcake factory. You know what? I think I want to make protein shakes. You know, I think I want to make jelly. You know what? I want to be a stay-at-home mom. All I know is that I'm not happy. So whenever you get the clarity on where you're going, and look, Deb said something that was key. She said, you have to be able to trust your feelings. And then Chris said that people don't know what they want. And I know for sure that it's because we're not allowed to trust our feelings, because we're hanging around a bunch of small-minded people who don't allow you to feel the way that you feel. You can be in a job and make $200,000 and still hate your life and your job, because you know that that's not what you were called to do. That's not your work. That's not your passion. So the money isn't in it for you. So one of the things that Paul asked, I want you to be able to trust your feelings and not what you think other people, how they will feel. So a lot of times we take into account what other people feel, or what they think we should want, or what they think we should deserve. How about this? How about you just focus on how you feel? Because in this moment of self-isolation, either you can run from your feelings, you can numb your feelings with alcohol, you can eat all the Cheetos in the world, but until you say, this sucks, I hate my life, and I know that I should be doing more, and then walk in that direction, and then allow the universe to do what it's going to do, you're going to be okay, because you need to trust your feelings. 1, 2, get clear on it. 3, take action. And don't worry about who won't support you, because the very same people who tell you what you shouldn't do or what they wouldn't do, they're not you. They don't have that inner compass. They don't have that feeling. That vision was not placed in their heart to bring to fruition. It was placed in yours.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I think that answers that.
Yeah.
I think that answers that. So let's try to get as many audience questions in as possible. Kimberly Mackenzie from LinkedIn wants to know, what do you do? And I think she's talking about clarity, but also pursuing right purpose. If you just feel you're being pulled in different directions constantly. And then to other questions I've seen, can you have more than one? Can you have multiple passions?
Absolutely. I'll jump in if I can. You can have multiple passions. I mean, we all do. There's a book, if you're thinking about passion, there's a book called, it's a New York Times bestseller. It's called The Passion Test. It's a really good book, and it really talks about the power of what passion is, how you identify it, etc. I always look at passion like this. Passion is almost like the seasons. It's going to ultimately change depending on what season that you find yourself in. Because at the end of the day, it's really based on, like you said earlier, Christy, you as well, Deb, when you think about your values and what's important to you at that particular time. Christy just mentioned a lot of people are so focused on career. They don't think about their personal life or other things. But once again, guess what? If you focus so much on your career and your personal life falls apart, guess what? Your passion in life is going to switch. It's going to have to change, because you're not going to be fulfilled in just the work. because if you can work all day and then come home to an empty house, that's not going that's not going to sustain you. That's not going to keep you. So I do believe that your passions can ultimately change. Paul, I'm going to send you a list. I have like 12 simple questions that individuals can ask themselves when they're trying to think about their passions. And I think it'll help. It's just simple stuff like my dream as a child was, if I received the Nobel Prize, it would be for my fantasy career would be, I mean, very simple, basic stuff. And I'll send it to you so you can send it to the group. But I think that your passion, yes, can change. I know what it's like to be pulled in different directions. And I think that many of us feel like we only are allowed to do one thing. And I understand that. We can do one thing at a time. I mean, my career was like that. As you said, Paul, I started out as a speaker. I was speaking on college stages and that kind of stuff. Then I liked speaking, but then I said, what happens when people go home? Then I shifted to, okay, let me connect with them on a one-on-one level through coaching. Right. And then I did the same thing like you, Christy. I said, okay, well, let me continue to mentor other coaches and that kind of stuff. So as you can see, my passion ultimately was still about investing in the development of people, but there's different mediums and ways in which you can execute that passion.
Gotcha. So here's a question that just came up on Facebook, Wayne Flake. And I want to send this in particular to you, Deb, because, you know, I brought you on talking about how fearless you are, right? And people are like, Deb is powerful. You know, she's a superhero. Look at her, right? And Wayne is asking about, you know, how do we wade through the naysayers? Because one thing I will tell you, and this is up until I met Oprah, right? I think once Oprah sprinkles some dust on you, everybody is like, you're great. But I remember approaching up to meeting Oprah, every idea I had, I feel like most people would say, man, that's terrible. Or don't do that. Don't follow that. And I felt like I was following, you know, I had clarity, but, and, you know, friends, family, coworkers saying, no, lots of naysayers. How do we wade through the naysayers? How do we block it out and become fearless so we can pursue our purpose?
This question was built for me.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something. I'm going to become known as a one-woman show person under the brand Redheaded She-Hulk. But instead of needing muscles, I'm going to be heart chakra green. This is how you stand up to the naysayers. If you're speaking your truth, if you're in your heart, what they're saying doesn't affect you. Now, it's hard, and you don't want to go off on your own tangents, but if you're being truthful, what does it matter what somebody else says? We've gotten so acculturated to wanting to be part of the standard normal people when we're all 1 in 7 billion. When you get into that space of being who you are, you will become fearless. You can become your own superhero, whatever it is. And so the strategy for finding your purpose is decluttering. Get rid of every thought you have that doesn't feel true. I'm worth $70,000. Does that feel true to you? Can you live the life that you want to give your family on this money? And this is thought to be a great salary. Is it? Is the money doesn't matter. What is your truth? And then you can stand up to the naysayers, left, right, and center. When you're in your truth, when you're being who you are. And the special thing about passion that's really important, it's a verb. It's this energy that every single one of us, including DJ Astronaut, is giving right now. It's not a destination. You're going to change. You're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to have read an article, or you're going to speak with a person, and tomorrow you're going to have a better vision, right? The whole thing about being a one-woman show. Well, Corona's kind of taken that away from me. The stages are now not going to be as prominent as they used to be. So now I'm an online personality. Wonderful, right? I can do this. I can get on podcasts, and I can be this catalyst to help people share their own passion. That's what I put on Knowledge Share. Hey, if you're scared to sit around and talk by yourself on video, hey, I'll talk with you. Let's just do it. Do it right now. Speak your truth. That's how you stand up to the naysayers.
There you go.
Be there.
All right. So now here's a follow-up, and you all could take this, or one, however you want to do this one. And so this is a personal struggle of mine, right? So I'm going to be real vulnerable right now and put it all on the table. But I know others are struggling with this too. Is what if you feel as if you have multiple talents, right? And you have many different skills. But the focus is to try to find the one, right? And this is what I mean by this. And actually, let me go back to this. So when I was, I hosted a digital show for USA Today called Uncommon Drive, where I would interview peak performers. And I was preparing to interview Kobe Bryant, okay? And in my opening to Kobe, what I wrote in my notes was, I'm so envious because I feel as if when you were a little boy, you knew what your purpose was, and that matched your passion, and that gave you vision. And so therefore, as a young person, you could just double down and focus on becoming best in the world because you knew, right? You had talents that no one else had. Like, you had indicators that were so clear to you that this is what this is why you were here, right? And I was saying to him, basically, I feel as if as I grow and evolve, like, I'm getting different skills. I'm good at many things, but how do I know what my one thing is so that I could optimize it, right? So I could be best in the world, so I could be world-class at it.
Yeah, for me, I don't think it's one thing, Paul. Like when you think about vision, so you have passion, you have purpose, and then you have vision. So the vision is like the 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. And one of the challenges that people have is that when you're really good at 10 things, if you try to put 10% energy into 10 things, you're never going to get anywhere. So pick the one that you're passionate about in this moment, knowing that the other 9 are possible, but you need to light that candle because it takes everything that you have to get that rocket off the ground. And once you get that one off the ground, you're going to learn so many skills, focus, denying the naysayers, how to start, whether you have money or if you don't have any money, how to become creative. And once you get that one thing off, now you can put the purpose and the passion into other projects. But really, it's about concentrating your efforts. And then when I think about you, Paul, as you were saying earlier, that you were thinking about being a producer. Well, once you have, 10 and 20 pieces on the puzzle, you have 1,000 pieces left. I don't think that the vision is something that we're always pursuing. And as you continue to move forward and you have the courage to step out and pivot and do something different, it's going to open up other avenues for you to explore to be able to live into your full greatness.
And I definitely agree. I 100% agree with Christy. I think that it's a blessing. It's not a curse to have all of those types of things, right? When you have those multiple talents. But I think that just from a human psychology perspective, as once you do one thing, that focus that Christy's talking about, F is for follow, O is for one, C is for course, U is for until, S is for successful. Once you focus in on and you achieve success, what that does is, guess what it gives you? It gives you certainty and confidence. Because if you did it in this area, you can transfer those skills into other areas and have that same degree of success. So I think it's almost like, think about building a house, and that's the bottom foundational piece. It's just understanding your skill set, mastering your skill set. Now, like you said, Paul, you mastered the skill set of being a TV personality. Then the TV host, then the producer, then and you just keep building on those particular skills, and you don't feel like. And I think that we always, especially now in these COVID times, everybody's talking about what they can't do. Right? Everything is about what I'm deprived from, what I can't do. Guess what? Focus on what you can do. And I think in this space of identifying your passion, guess what? I can do a lot of things. I'm choosing to do this first, and then I will build everything else out from there.
Chris, could you hit us? A couple of people asked for that focus again, that acronym. Could you break that down?
F is for follow. O is for one. C is for course. U is for until. And S is for successful. Focus. Okay. And I'm going to give you one more, Paul, if I can, because I think the way, and once you focus and you kill it and you're making things happen, you have to identify what is your system. What is your system that you use to ultimately get there? And I'm gonna tell you, systems are important too. Y'all know I'm an engineer by degree, so I always think about things in terms of technology and stuff. But I'll give you an acronym for system too. S is for save. Y is for yourself. S is for stress. T is for time. E is for energy, and M is for money. Once you figure out what your system is, you're able to save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. And guess what? Sometimes the system you need, someone has already created. So it's up to you to, once again, model that behavior. Success is leaving clues. Follow that system. Build basically everything you want to build, but you don't have to always reinvent the wheel. And I think that's when you lean in, and that's when you lean in on other individuals that have been down that path before and that can ultimately help you. But by focusing and building that system, I'm telling you, you're going to have the certainty and the power. And that's why I think that is so important for entrepreneurs right now. If you were able to, anybody can be successful in a great economy, anybody. But when you're able to really grind it out and really make things happen, as I was saying, get sugar, honey, iced tea done. I'm using good words today, Paul.
Can I say this though, Chris, about the good words? Chris is using so many good words because when someone asked him focus and he paused on that F, he was like, I was like, oh man. All right. So now all right. So the acronyms, I see people entering the acronyms in so that everyone else will know that, which I love. Let me jump into this question just because
Actually, Paul, I need to jump in.
Please.
I have something to say about Kobe. And we're going to start with the acronym. We're going to start with GOAT. Y'all know what that means.
Yes.
Here's the question. I'm going to ask an entirely new question, and I'm going to tie this all together really well. What is Kobe the GOAT of? Was it his career? Was it basketball? Or is Kobe's legacy that he died young, #girl dad? The man's humanity, his fatherhood is what he went out on.
Correct.
That's what's important. And I'll tell you, Paul, that's why I invested so much time commenting on your posts, because the family man in you, your family is your business.
Right.
That is what we all deserve. We should not have our families off in some other place when we're doing our job. If you want to live a life of purpose, your family needs to be around. So bringing up Kobe was the precise thing. You can be the greatest of all time in your job.
Absolutely.
But if your family is not part of your legacy,
correct.
What have you done? What have you accomplished? It will not be remembered. So it is absurd that we lost him so young, because he would have been the GOAT in raising a woman who would join the NBA.
True.
Think about what we lost in terms of the broad scope of all 7 billion of us. This is how philosophy changes things. So I love everything Chris said. I love where Christy went. The implementation, all of those details are very important. But if you've not thought about it correctly, if you're trying to find your purpose just to make money, your life will not be fulfilling.
And you killed it, Deb. The reason that reason why, that's the motivating force. You said it. That why is so critical. It's so critical. It's so important. And the family is the why. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Kobe is the one who taught us. I mean, Kobe has taught us, even in his early death, that this is what matters.
Yeah, you got it. I tell you, I mean, glance at the comments right now. I've never seen so many amens and well said. So you definitely touched on something, Deb, there. I want to bring this next question up because this one, Eric Eklund, who's a personal brand strategist on LinkedIn here, asked this question, and I saw it echoed by someone else. And this was his question. Why shall we be fearless? Is that really part of us being a human, is being fearless? Or isn't it more about embracing what scares us and how to handle it? And I think that's a good philosophical question, since we have a philosopher on the panel, but this is good for everyone, is it about being fearless, or is it about embracing what it is that scares us?
I think that whole old phrase, feel the fear and do it anyway, it's not pretty valid. Fear is there to tell us important things. The thing about being fearless is getting rid of all of that quorum of voices of people you don't respect in your own mind. That's the fear that you want to get rid of. Voices that don't mean anything to you, and they're going to stop you in your tracks. the people who are the quorum in your mind. I did a little video on YouTube if y'all want to check it out. I'm home solo, and I was having breakfast one day, and you know what I did? I said, I want to be a stand-up comedian, a stand-up philosopher. I went and I did a bit on the original kings of comedy. I got on YouTube, I improv'd, and I basically said, you know what, if Bernie Mac was still alive, I bet racism would be gone. Look at what DL and Steve and Cedric have achieved since Spike filmed the original Kings of Comedy. What if we still had Bernie Mac? And then I realized, you know what? The fact that I, this redhead with this skin, consider Bernie Mac a legend, that it is defeating racism. Fear, you can use it, but you gotta know that you're trusting people to make you fearful or make you successful. It's all about who the quorum is in your own mind.
Right.
Not about what's happening out in the world.
That's fair.
Can I jump in on fear real fast? Just for
yeah,
one?
go ahead, definitely.
And I definitely agree with you, Deb. I think that fear, one of my not my favorite movies, but one of the parts of a favorite part of a movie is a movie that, speaking of father and sons, I have two boys and they're my everything, and we always watch movies together. And one of them was After Earth with Will Smith and Jaden Smith. And in the movie, it's this apocalyptic thing, and there's this monster, and this monster attacks people. It can't see, but it can, guess what? Smell and sense what you just said, Deb, fear. And it will kill you if you exhibit those biochemical things that show that you're fearful. And I'll never forget one quote in the movie. Will Smith was trying to teach his son, and he said, "You know what, son? Fear is a choice." And it sent just everything through my body. And I even created an event called Limitless because of that. And one of the biggest things about fear, and once again, going back to the science in me, is that I've learned that to me, fear is a mind-altering, fictitious force that has a very real effect, meaning that it's not really real. Because according to science, right, if you can't see it, if you can't smell it, if you can't taste it, if you can't hear it, if you can't touch it, it's not real. So when I look at it, I see that most people, when they say they're fearful, just like Deb talked about, if you're fearful of being on camera, they say, "Oh my God, I'm fearful," and you can see my fear. No, you see my hands shaking. That's an effect of the fear. You don't see the fear. You see the way that I allowed it to ultimately affect me. So when you think about conquering fear, understand that, to your point, Deb, it's a choice. Like, you're choosing to either lean in, lean out, whatever you want to do with that. But at the end of the day, in my mind, it's a mind-altering, fictitious force that has a very real effect. And it's up to us to be able to, I believe that energy is neither created nor destroyed. So utilize that nervousness, utilize all that kind of stuff, and bring it out in a very powerful way, much like Deb has been doing this entire time that we've been on here.
I have something on fear too.
The engineer. There you go.
Yeah, I have something on fear too. Like, I think about when I left my career early with 3.5 years left to retire with the full pension. Let's be clear. I did not leave my check, my good government delicious check with all my marbles. Right. And so I burned out through a series of events. And when I wrote a book to talk about it, the second book that I wanted to write was called Heal Your Brokenness, because I basically had to take time to put myself back together again. And then the inner voice of me said, "Christy, you want to talk about healing, but you're not really to share how you became broken, because people see that you're happy now, and nobody will believe that. People don't think that they're superheroes and that their leaders actually had challenges. So are you willing to be transparent enough to dig deep into who you are and say, hey, I was harassed too. I was a little aggressive too. I did these things wrong too." And so right before I published that book, I wanted to throw up 5 times. I ate 5 gallons of ice cream when I wrote that book, because I didn't want the world to now see me in that light. And for me, that was more terrifying than anything. But this is what I learned, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about me. Right? Like, when I think about vision, I was called to no longer serve people in an organization. I now needed to be able to serve people in the masses. It's not about me. So you're afraid of what people are going to say and what they're going to think and what they're going to do. And when I hit send, how many inbox messages that I get from powerful women that I thought were powerful, that they thought I was powerful, that experienced the exact same thing. So my healing, I would say the greater part of healing became because I was able to now inspire healing among other people because I did the work to do that. So a lot of times when you think about, the fear of criticism, I have schools to build like Paul. I have community centers to create. I have generational poverty to break. I don't care what you think about me. I really don't care what you say about me because I need to lift my family out of poverty and make sure generationally we don't have these challenges anymore. So if you don't like me, I'm okay with that. I like me. But you're not going to stop my mission or make me shrink with what I'm assigned to do. And the last thing I'll say is everybody said, Christy, you're great. My bio, Paul, we would have been here all day if you read it. But in my vision of what I see, this is only 3% of what I've seen. I'm like, this is nothing. I mean, I feel so behind. Like, Paul, there are so many things that I could do. I don't have enough time. So, ladies and gentlemen, give yourself permission to dream. Give yourself permission to think that everything that you can do and can conquer is going to take you a lifetime. But just start, close your eyes and just jump and just say, it's not about me. And let me find out what I'm really made of.
Now, Christy, what I love about that is what you just said about not necessarily, like, it doesn't matter what these other people think, right? As you said that, I see a question from a friend of mine right here in the UK, my man right here in London, OC. And I want to end on this question because I love this question, because he's asking here about effectively communicating your vision to your family, right? So this is how I'd love for you to attack this question, right? Is A, because we know we need others, right, to participate in this path. How do we navigate around family and or those who are close to us, like best friends? Maybe it's a vision we have and our cube mate is right next to us. Is it like, so do we need to be communicating this vision to this close circle that we have? And then if we are communicating to them and they're not receiving it, what do we do so that they are no longer naysayers and they're on the bus with us? Because I will say this, is that I think one of the best advantages I've ever had is the fact that my wife was always, she was just, let's
ride
do
or
it.
die.
She was ride or die. This is a story that I've said so many times, but I just want to say it real quick, is that when we launched our matchmaking business, my wife, we had no starting capital, right? We talked about the idea. She then liquidated her 401k so that we would have the capital to start. Now, everyone, I'm sure, said she was crazy for what? You gonna do what? For some man, you're gonna go run and do it, right? I'm sure everybody thought it was crazy. In hindsight, maybe not that crazy, but at that time, little crazy. But how does OC, convert his family to Jill's, to ride or die, right? So a lot there to unpack, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I think this is a good closeout.
Are we going to answer it? I think we may all have something different. Yeah. So since I'm already talking, I'll go first. Look, let me tell you something. When I walked away from my good money, my friends talked about me. They called me stupid. She's crazy. She'll be back. I know y'all said it. It's all right. I forgive you. My family did not agree, because if my family has now attached their stories and their pride to talk about my friends, even though they didn't know what I did, they say Christy's in the service. So now that I've left that, now who am I to them? How can they explain that I'm a failing entrepreneur who burned out from her career and walked away? A little crazy, right? Like now, so if I was to attach my story and my vision, because look, at the end of the day, I knew that this person right here was knocking and begging to come out. She was like, Christy, you need to be whole. You need to be healed, because this is a vision that I had when I was younger. You're going to be on the world stage, but you can't get on the world stage with who you are right now. So there is work for you to do. So you have to understand, OC, and everybody that's on this line, is the vision was given to you. The seed was given to you. You have to learn what William George Jordan talks about, self-reliance. He said, be an oak and not a vine. Be ready to give support, but do not crave it. Do not need it. So an oak can stand by itself out front and it grows strong and tall alone. A vine reaches out. A vine can, yes, grow up 100 feet tall, but it has to wrap itself around something. So be an oak and not a vine. Understand that if it's going to be, it's up to me. You're responsible for bringing your vision to fruition, and you can't lay on your deathbed. And I think that's what a lot of people are afraid about right now is, I didn't go for it all. I still have regrets. I didn't do it. What are you waiting for? Tomorrow and the next hour is not guaranteed. So if you're going for it, like when I was coming to the Bahamas and the plane was acting kind of dicey, and I was like, hey, this might be it. And can I go out of here understanding that even though I didn't do everything that I saw in my vision, I was going for it. And when we hit the ground, I said, cool, I got another day to get to work. So thank you, y'all.
Love it. Deb, you want to go next, or you want me to?
I do. I will go next because I'm going to go somewhere different. I'm going to go to what you do to convince your family is ask them to look at your health, to look at your emotional and physical health when you're going down, following some path. That is the truth. If you are becoming more well, just as Christy just said, if you are healing, then your family is right along with you. If you're doing something just for the money, you're probably going to be miserable and frustrated and snap at them. So this is the power of purpose. You just become happy. You have the energy of this whole panel. That is how you get your family aligned with you. They may not understand intellectually what it is that you're doing when you say you want to become a redheaded She-Hulk and found well-being philosophy as the next important way to think about being human. They're not going to understand that, but they're going to see that your health is becoming vibrant. They're going to see you looking alive. They're going to see you having fun, and they're going to want some of that. They're going to want to support it, and they're going to want to enjoy you living the life you were meant to lead.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Guys, you guys said it all. I'll take it one more step, I guess, in a different direction. This is a very personal question to me. And being very transparent. And Paul knows this story. I was so focused on business and building and creating and providing. And I'll just take this from the man's perspective, that I began to basically ostracize my wife at the time and the family somewhat, because I was so focused on basically, I'll never forget, she said something to me. She's like, you can save everybody else, but what about us? Or specifically, what about me? And unfortunately, we ended up getting a divorce. We're in an amazing place now, so I'm so grateful for that. But literally, you know, that pursuit cost me the original family unit. And my boys are my everything, as I said earlier. And it was so critically important for me to understand, okay, let me evaluate this situation. Where did I ultimately go wrong? And what I realized, Osei, is that I didn't clearly, as you just said, communicate that, guess what? I'm doing all of this for us. I had to explain exactly what's, you know, everybody likes the same radio station. What's in it? WIIFM. What's in it for me? And I wasn't able to really be able to communicate to them that I'm grinding hard, I'm working late hours, I'm doing all this other kind of stuff so I can provide a life for you, much like Chris, so I can destroy, you know, the history of generational poverty, and so I can impact the community. And it was so important for me to go after my quote unquote purpose and vision that it almost cost me everything. But one thing that I realized this, and I think this is the biggest gift that you can give to anybody, whether it's in a relationship, outside of a relationship, whatever, in a business, etc., is your authentic presence. And when I say your authentic presence, I'm talking about being there, not only physically, because I was there physically, but I'm talking about mentally, I'm talking about emotionally, and being able to really feel and let them know that, baby, look, I got you. Look, we're in this together. That's what this is for. And I'm building this so we can create a new life, so we can move forward together. And I think that my failure in that, right, of not understanding how to do that at that time was truly, was detrimental at the time. Of course, we've built since then. We're in an amazing place. Our boys are incredible, all that kind of great stuff. But like I said, the biggest lesson I learned through that was to be authentically present, to understand exactly what I valued, and to clearly communicate what those values were to the people that I loved and I cared about the most.
Man, Chris, thanks for sharing that. It was interesting because when you said Paul knows this, I was like, I know exactly where he's going with this one. And I think that was very important for everyone to hear. But I just want to say I think that's very important in particular for a lot of men to hear.
Absolutely.
Because I have so many, little brothers like, my mentees who, literally exactly what your wife said. You could save everybody, right?
What about it?
What about it? Yeah. What about us?
Mm-hmm.
And this speaks to what, Deb was talking about earlier, and Christy, the whole notion that, we're talking about the GOAT, talking about Kobe. What's fascinating to me is that I didn't think when we started this conversation, we would be here at this place now. Really. I mean, this is, and I don't want to use the word was, but I have to wrap things like this was incredibly powerful. What this conversation gave me was clarity on what it is that is most important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I understand now is it's through that clarity that will guide me to greater purpose, greater passion, right? And clearly the vision. I mean, this is outstanding. Outstanding. I mean, just look at the comments. People are like, this is outstanding. I want us. It's funny. Kim is saying that replay on deck immediately. I'm going to have to replay just to catch all acronyms, just to get it all. But what I want to do is I want to say goodbye to each of you, one-on-one, so that we'll also know how to support you. So I tell you what, Chris. Where is he? Oh my gosh, my production skills are terrible today.
You're working on it. You're about to be a producer. You got it.
Hey man, it's coming. Chris, first, thank you very much for giving.
My pleasure. Your
vulnerability, right, in your giving. What can we do to give back to you? How can we support you?
Excellent. I think the best way we can support each other is to literally connect. So Paul will put the website up there. It's just a simple mobile version of my website. You can find me on LinkedIn, of course. This is a great place to communicate, but shor.by/Chris Cooper Live. Thank you, Cher. Shout out to a previous guest. She's the one that taught me how to do Shorby real quick. She didn't know she did it, but she's learning now. But I would love to be of service. I have tons of both virtual programs as well as coaching programs and all types of corporate things. Just go to the website. You'll see everything that I ultimately offer. Once again, execute your passion, really about helping people ignite their fire inside, because I believe that breakthroughs are sexy, baby. To seeing each and every one of you guys. Like I said, definitely connect, sign up for the email newsletter, all that kind of good stuff. And then go to the Chris Cooper experience and you'll see everything that I offer and that I'm working on. And I'm working with a lot of coaches right now too. So if there are coaches out there that are looking to ultimately learn how to really monetize their message and turn their passion into profit, holler at me. I got you covered.
There we go. That's the man. Chris is the man to talk to. I tell you what, breakthroughs are sexy. I'm going to take that. Breakthroughs are sexy. Chris, thank you so much. I hope you stick around and engage in the comments a little bit while DJ Astronaut is spinning, because I know there's a lot of questions for you already. Chris, hey man, much love, Chris. There's Chris Cooper. Everybody say goodbye to Chris. That's my man, Chris Cooper. All right, let's bring on Deb. Let's get Deb going on here. Let's see. Here she is. There she is.
Hey everyone.
Deb.
I got one thing to say. Your health is your wealth. This is the post-pandemic reality. So, everyone's been vulnerable and share. I'll share. 1 year ago, I was 333 pounds. I have lost 130 pounds in my goal to bring well-being philosophy to the world. When you get that purpose, when you, like Christy said, you got things to do in the world, you don't care at the little bitty bits that people are saying about you. And when you can learn to say that thing about yourself that you've wanted to be ashamed of your whole life, everything changes. Your health will go right to vibrancy. Doesn't matter, because the weight took forever and it's still coming off. But the mind thought that I was going to learn what it felt like to be lean and to be able to go out in the world and put these thoughts, instead of just typing on the comments, I did that, Paul, because that was all the health I had. Commenting on LinkedIn was the only job I could do for a couple years because my health was so compromised. So I want the people out there who think, oh, they've all got this sorted. Every single one of us have told you vulnerably that our lives were basically at rock bottom, whether it was relationships or health or, knowing that we couldn't be in organizations that weren't serving our core purpose. We all basically hit some sort of bottom. And all of us in some way, because of our culture, need to be prepared that getting in purpose is going to cause rifts. But you're in your purpose, those rifts all make sense to you. You're like, yeah, I'm not going to accept any longer this bullshit. Right. This bullshit about fitting in, being just like everyone else. Yeah. That is what is hurting your health. Yeah. You're 1 in 7 billion. Every single one of you out there in comments land, own your own truth. And you will get well, and you will contribute to this new world. We need you. I want you out there doing what you do.
Deb, we need you to run for president of the United States. Who wants Deb for president?
You know what I want to run for? You know what I want to run for, seriously? Because we got a global audience. I want to run for Richard Branson's group, The Elders. I don't want to be in politics. I want to help the globe unite.
Well, then, Deb, here's the question then. On that note, how can we support you, right? Because I want to make sure that the audience is supporting you. Can we support you in that? How can we support you? And I have some information up, but how can we do it?
Definitely, I want everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. I will comment on posts. We will all connect. We'll chat. LinkedIn is the place where I basically connected with the world. I'm home solo, so I got plenty of time to meet everybody. I have my website. I created a splash page, www.insightsoccur.com/PCB. So you can learn how to work with me. I do health coaching about this weight loss, about chronic disease. I also love to do workshops for organizations who need brainstorming. I'm telling you what, I can create billion-dollar industries right now. I can see the future just be using thinking clearly and saying life matters. This is the key. All of the old industrialization, treating people like widgets, it's through. Humans are dynamic and they're changeable, and we have to build the world that accommodates all of the human energy that's trapped in jobs, trapped in cubicle captivity, and all of the humans across the globe who are living in conditions where they don't have clean water and enough food. I care about that. That's so much more important than whether some company's GL balance survives or not. Let's take care of humans, and then this will all work out. We have nothing to fear but staying the same.
Deb, I still think you should run for president. I still think you should. I see a lot of people in the comments saying Deb for president. So here's the thing, Deb, thank you very much. I do adore and respect you. And just thank you. That's all I can say. Heartfelt, thank you very much.
Thank you for reading my comments. Seriously, do you know how many people I've given so much energy to and they completely didn't spend the time to understand how I could help them? I understand how I was trying to help other people in the comments. That's the other thing that very few people saw, how much I would work to support everyone else commenting. If there was a real human heart trying to convey something, I would not let that human heart get squashed.
Yeah,
that's what we needed in a president. I'm not running for president, I guarantee that. But I am running to help all of these hearts be out in the world making things change.
That's fair. So maybe it's Deb for vice president. But I tell you what, Deb, thank you. Deb, please, I know you're going to be in the comments on both LinkedIn and Facebook because we're going to do a little comment party as DJ Astronaut spins. So Deb, much love. Much love. There goes Deb, everybody. Everybody say goodbye to Deb. There she goes. And last but not least, we've got my sis, Christy. Here she is. Here she is.
I was rolling up my sleeves, getting ready to spit something on you.
Oh, man. Chris, drop it. You could drop it. How can we support you, Christy? What can we do to support you?
I think the first thing is one of the things that I want to say, what I loved about the last question, Paul, was we all had a different perspective of how we answered that question. So when you rediscover, you don't have to look for it outside of yourself. You just need to remember who you are. When you rediscover your voice and you get into alignment with the people that you are meant to lead or that you're meant to lead and you're meant to talk to, everybody doesn't they're not going to get it and they're not going to understand, but you have a certain subsection of people that you're meant to impact who get you. So I love it that we all had different perspectives on the last question of how we're going to move forward, because and how do you overcome fear? Because so many times people listen to, if Chris listened to me talk about fear, he would have had a different outcome, or he would have had or OC would listen to me. I'm sorry. OC would listen to me talk about fear when he's a man who has a family. He doesn't need to listen to me. He needs to listen to Chris. And there are other people who need to listen to me and other people who need to listen to Deb. So while we can take overarching information from everyone, I really want y'all to start to pay attention to who you're allowing to speak into your life and who you're listening to, because if they don't have the results that you desire, then they're not necessarily the people that you're going to want to listen to. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm at most of the time. I do a little bit on Facebook, but for the most part, I'm on LinkedIn. And then I also have a free webinar for everyone, is how to pivot in your career and recession-proof your income without getting another degree. And what I like to do is I like to assist leaders with, one, getting clarity on where you are and where you want to go. Two, removing all the blocks and the obstacles that are in your way that you're completely unconscious about. And then three, getting you to alignment to get the results that you desire. I wrote down my mission the other day and I was like, wow, Christy, that's pretty big. So my goal in the next 20 years is to close the gender wage gap for women around the world by 20%. And when I wrote that, it was kind of like, pow, Christy, that's pretty big, but I can't do that. So that's what I do. Connect with me. My clients get raises, bonuses, promotions, stock options. I like to play psychological mind games and office politics. I mean, that's what I do. Right? This is what I've been doing for 20 years. So people say, Krista, how long have you been doing that? Well, I've been getting paid for the past 5, but this is what I've done for the past 20. This is my gift. And I really want everybody to walk into their gifts and have courage, because the world needs you. So every day when I wake up in the morning, a voice says, Christy, the people need you. Get up. And I wake up without an alarm clock super early in the morning before the chickens, because this is the time that you can either become better or you can become bitter. You can become focused, or you could just fall down and start crying about it. You could just be a mess, or you could be motivated. This is so many people, Paul, are going to rise during this pandemic. I mean, all some people needed was a little bit of time to get their stuff in order. I mean, we're going to see leaders who are just going to pop out of nowhere, and then there are going to be a lot of people who are going to fall down. You determine which one you're going to be based on the actions that you take right now, period.
There you go. That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop. Christy, thank you very much. Thank you for everything that you do, but thank you for just being you. And when I opened with just how, I was like, she's just good, right? Because it's interesting. Your bio would have taken an hour and a half to read. If I went from Harvard Business School all the way through, it would have taken the whole thing. But I just said, she's good. Good people. Christy, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Paul, for the gift that you bring to the world and your just desire to serve at a level that I haven't seen in anybody else. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being that person who's just warm and connects and just really likes to be around good people. So thank you for everything that you do.
There you go, Christy. Good people know good people. There's Christy. Everybody say goodbye to Christy. Everyone say goodbye. I tell you what, guys, we had to do it. This was our longest session, but we had to do it. I see you in the comments right now. Alex Merritt, I see you, sis. Kenda Bell, I see you. Let me go to LinkedIn. Real quick, we're about to have DJ Astronaut take us out, but I just want to get a temperature check. How'd you like today? Remember, if you didn't like it, say, nah, it wasn't all that. If you thought it was okay, then say it was okay. But if you loved it, let me see in the comments that you loved it real quick before we get the party started. There you go. Let me go to LinkedIn, because I love LinkedIn so much, right? I see my sister Nicola McFadden says, nice job. Jamaican C, that's what I'm talking about. Louisa Patterson says, good people. Samarian Watt says, thanks so much. Michelle Blanchard is saying, everybody did a good job. Christy, Chris, Deb, right? Dr. Craig Suri says, great. This is great. There we go. All right. Before we get out of here, I've got to shout this out real quick before the DJ comes and spins. Please make sure you go to Knowledge Share. Deb, you could get free time with Deb. Deb is already in this. I'm about to pitch Christy and Chris on this to make sure that they're donating time. Kit Pang, who was a speaker previously. We have a lot of former experts who have come on Better with Paul who are also participating. Please invest your skills. It's all free. It's about growing your community, and it's also about growing your skill. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I'm going to jump into comments myself right now, and we're going to get the party started. We got 2 minutes. That's it. We got a 2-minute party. It's a real quick party, but we got a 2-minute party. I want to bring my man DJ Astronaut on real quick before DJ, real quick though. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm loving it. Y'all got me feeling like the smartest man on the planet right now. My right.
Hey, this is my man. This is my man. We have worked together in the past. We've had good times. And when I thought about a DJ, I was like, I got to bring my man DJ Astronaut to this. So you got 2 minutes of license-free music so we don't get booted for us?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is the beat that I'm about to play, I'm a music producer as well. I make music with a program called Serato Studio. The beat you're going to hear is from me. So we're licensed, clear. The words will be an acapella from an artist that you might know. I think you're going to love this remix. So,
all right.
Clear.
All right, so here's the thing, DJ Astronaut. I'm going to be in the comments right now for the last 2 minutes. I want everybody to do as much connection as you can. Take us on out of here. Much love. Thank you, DJ Astronaut.
Let me work it. Put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. It's your primitive and when it's your primitive and when if you got a big, let me search it and find out how hard I gotta work. Yeah, it's your primitive and when it's your primitive and when I like this. I like this. I like to get to know ya so I can show ya. Put a hurtin' on ya like I told ya. Give me all your numbers so I can phone ya. If you're acting stinking, call me your rock. Not on the bed, lay me on your sofa. Call before you come, I need to shake my chop. You do or you don't, or you will, I won't chop. Go downtown and eat it like a bone chop. See my hips, big hips, so chop. See my butt and my lips don't chop. Lost a few pounds in my waist, so yeah. This the kind of beat that go ba-ta-ta. Ba-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Sex me so good, I say blah, blah, blah. Work it, I need a glass of water. Boy, your boy is good to know ya. Is it worth it? Let me work it. Put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. It's your primitive and when yet. It's your primitive and when yet. You got a big, let me search it. Find out how hard I gotta work. Yeah, it's your primitive and when yet. It's your primitive and when yet.
That's how you close out live. Yeah. Thank y'all for checking it out, man. DJ and my boy, international celebrity, connection visionaire, hooker-upper, business connoisseur, Paul C. Brunson. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you. I'm going to thank him for calling back. He's